So in today's video, I'm gonna break down how to create and develop and implement an email AI agent that manages your emails, that drafts your emails, sends the emails, retrieves the emails, and basically speaks and writes in the same way as you would write your emails yourself, right? Now, as you can see here, this is basically built on the platform called N8N, which is basically a workflow automation AI platform for low-code, no-code automations, tools, etc. Right? But the how to build an agent, the key agentic frameworks here is based on the Langchain. So down below, I'm going to also attach a Langchain framework if you decide to build it in code or if you decide to build it in N8. Now, before I go into development of how to develop this, I'm going to showcase you live demo of how this works. Now, before I go into it, you're going to probably see here all the tools, the memory connected to it, which I'm going to add as well. But you can also see one specific thing, which is Google Sheets. This is a unique edge in this email agent because that's the reason why this email agent speaks exactly like you would, like you basically speaks and writes in the same way as you would. Basically writes the same emails as you would. And that's what makes it useful, because 99% of the email agents now on the market are simply useless because they don't write and they don't sound same as you, right? So let me showcase you how this works. In first of all, I have connected my chat here just so I can showcase you live here. But in our case at Stella, we have built a custom executive AI assistant, which is not just connected to an email agent, but also to a calendar agent, project management agent, for call recording, transcription agent, etc., and so on and so forth. Basically, it's connected to multiple other tools, and we have it in our Slack channel, right? But in this case, I'm going to showcase you how to just connect it to the chat here in the N8, but you can also connect it to the Slack, Telegram, custom interface, let's say like Streamlit or Gradio, whatever it is, right? Or custom code React apps, front-end apps. So let me just showcase you how it works. Let's say I'm just going to write hi. I'm going to be like, give me most recent emails I got. And now it's going to basically searches up my inbox. It searches on only my primary inbox, and it will retrieve me the specific emails that I most recently got, right? So let's wait a little bit so I can showcase you this works. And boom, now we are able to see the most recent emails. I'm not gonna stop at every single one just because some of them are more personal, but I can open, let's say, one. Okay, receipt, reading time 4 minutes. Basically all of the information that you can see here. Let me just go in here. Let's say from, to, date, subject, message, reading time, topic, every single thing I told him to do that, right? It's not inconsistent that I wanted to tell in here. Basically, the email agent is very, very consistent. So let me just open one of them so we can see. But basically, these are all the emails that we got. Let's say view the message from Michael. I can literally click here and it will basically embedded the email URL, like for what the email URL that it consists of, right? So that's one thing. Now let's see if I ask him, okay, draft me an email regarding reschedule, or say email reschedule type for jacktest.io. Tell it to reschedule to 5 p.m. next week. Basically what I'm telling him to use a specific email template, aka because in the Google Sheets I have multiple different emails I send on a consistent basis, and I'm telling him, okay, use this email, reschedule type of email, and this is the information that you want. I want you to incorporate in it. And as you can see here, rescheduling meeting, hijack, something got in between. Is it possible to push meeting to 5 p.m. next week? Let me know if it works so I can send you the invite, right? View the draft email in here. Now let me showcase you here in a second, so you're able to see that it actually works. It's not like a gimmick. Boom, you can see here, right? Basically, I can send that exact email literally right now. So this is a test, and I can literally be like, okay, just send the email, and it will send the email, right? I can be like, okay, send this email, and it will send it out. Now, if I do that, it's not going to do that because I don't have connected memory to it, right? But if I did it, it would do it, right? In a very simple, basically it's very simple how to connect the memory to it. Now, let's go on to the next step on how to develop this. The first step is basically what chat message received. You can literally just connect what chat message received, which you can find under the trigger. You can click here. You can just go under the add another trigger on chat message. Basically, it provides you with a chat interface down below here, so you're able to test it live. The next steps here, you're gonna add the LLM, which is basically gonna be what LLM provider you choose. In our case, it's just GPT. Now, personally, we use a lot of cloud and traffic, but normally majority of our tech stack incorporates OpenAI's models. But you basically connect and pick the correct model you want to choose. Basically, how you connect it is you just need to add an API key under here, right? And that's basically it. And how to add a API key down below. I'm going to also attach a document on how to search for API key in the OpenAI development platform. So once that is done, you can connect your memory. Now, how to connect your memory? Now, let me just move this out of the way for a second. How to connect the memory is very simple. Now you have multiple choices, either the simple memory and all sorts of other choices. Now if you want some more scalable solution, I advise you to build this in code, aka Python, using either Langchain frameworks, Pydantic frameworks, or any other frameworks, just to work on scale and consistency. But for now, like if you want to use it internally for a few members to build a quick MVP and to don't get me wrong, it's a usable solution. It works very well in the no code as well, low code. But one big problem that happens is the scalability and consistency, right? So, and of course, that's the reason, because you need to have more control over it if you want to achieve that. Now, in regards to the memory, I went a little bit off track, but in simple terms, for now, you can just pick simple memory. It basically will save the memory in the NA8 database. And the context window you can pick, basically in our case 5 is enough. Basically it will remember 5 last previous messages from you and from the AI. So make it simple. But you can also utilize some other database like a Redis, etc. Now tool, there are a few tools that we need here. Now you can add multiple other tools, but in our case I just needed to retrieve me the last few messages, emails that I got, create me the draft. Then Google Sheets, any type of database that consists of my previous emails, templates emails that I use on a daily basis, so I can refer to it, so he can utilize that template and alongside my query. And the last part is basically sending the emails, right, based upon my confirmation. Now the first one is basically how to add it. It's very simple. Let me just I'll add it here manual as well. Gmail, you can literally just search for it, Gmail, boom, right, and that's basically it. Now, what do you need to, once you add it, you will here see, and you're basically gonna pick a resource and you're gonna pick the message. You're gonna pick get many. What does that mean? That means it will retrieve the last 5 messages, because we have here the limit set. And it will retrieve multiple messages, not just one, right? Because I don't want to retrieve only one, I want to see the last however I got, right? Now be careful here, just so you understand, because if your emails are very long, especially if you're including promotions, you might hit a token size based if you're utilizing OpenAI models or any other models, to be honest, because it's quite limited. So keep it very short. Keep it the limit quite small, and just keep in mind that you potentially can hit the token limit size. That's one of the reasons you can build this in the code, so you have more control over it. Now, once you pick the limit, 5 in our case, down below you're gonna have filters, which basically how to get to that point is basically very simple. You can just click this part, option, but it's gonna say filter. You're gonna filter it, and you can here filter it based on where do you want to retrieve these emails. In our case, I just want to retrieve it from the inbox, primary inbox, nothing else, right? Because I don't want to retrieve any specific emails from my promotion tab or anything else, right? You click that, and basically you're gonna only retrieve the emails from your primary inbox. The next step is the draft. You do the same as the before. You go here. Now, the one thing that you need to do, you can just copy this variable from JavaScript, which is basically whatever the AI retrieves from my user input, from the Gmail retriever, right? From my user input, and we are basically inputting it here. And whatever we're telling him is that the variable from AI subject, which is basically the subject. If I tell the AI use subject or schedule, it's gonna come in here. And how to implement this? You're gonna click on the expression. You're gonna click this, and you're gonna literally write this in. Now, if you run the previous tests before, you can literally drag and drop in here as well, but the best way is just to write this in here. Now, if you don't want to write it, you can literally just click here under the let the model define this parameter, and it will do it itself, basically via AI. The next step is the email type, because you're gonna sending drafting majority of the emails in the text. Now, if it's HTML, that's the other topic, but majority of you guys are gonna utilize text. And then you're gonna basically sort it out with message. Down below, you're gonna do the same, just copy this. Okay, as you can see here, this is a query. My user, basically the user, what AI generated from retrieving from our database, aka Google Sheets, right? So, and from the alias is basically from what email you want to send this specific email, and that's basically it. Now, the next step is the Google Sheets. The Google Sheets is a database which is full of our template used emails. Now, in our case, we have operations like get rows, documents, which is basically what Google Sheet is, from list, and okay, from worksheet is, and that's basically it. You don't need to do anything else, right? And the important part is to pick sheet within the document, right? And let me showcase you the sheet very quickly so you understand it. Now, this is just a test. In our case, we utilize a larger database, but you can also utilize, let's say, like an embedding, like a Google Drive, and then embed it. But I prefer for this video just to showcase you like more faster project. You can literally implement it right now as you're watching this. Very simple. Right now, you can utilize Google Sheets, which is probably the easiest, but you can utilize any type of database. Let's say, I don't know, Airtable, even though I don't recommend that, but let's say Supabase is a good one, Postgres, etc. Right? But in short lines, you have in the first column email type, which is basically the type of email you're referring to, and the email structure, like the template. As you can see here, I just entered 2 or 3 of them. Reschedule, and if you remember the previous one, let me go here. Hijack, something got in between. Is it possible to push the meeting to 5 p.m. next week? Let me know if it works, so I send you the invite. Best, if you go back, you're able to see literally same email that it used, and it wrote in the same voice, same way as I did. Now, you can improve this email structure in more better way. Let's say like adding JavaScript variables where you want to AI to know what to change and what to stay, right? Meaning what is the fixed part of the text you want to remain it, and what is the variable text, right? So you can literally improve it very much. But for this video, I just want to make it a quick video how you can literally implement this in a few seconds. Now, the next part is the Gmail send messages, right? Which is basically you go here, you click the messages again, operation send, because we want to send the messages. And now you're gonna pick and choose here under the expressions from the AI tool, which basically tells us to who are we sending to, subject, basically subject, who are we, like what is the subject line, email type, text, and the message. The message is basically from the AI that generated from our that we want to send it out, right? And that's basically every single variable, as you can see here, and from the other tools is basically from AI, aka $sign from the AI. And how you can do that is just literally going here, either that be generated yourself or just write this exact query from this video. Now, once this is done, let me just delete this. Now, and that's basically how you can build an email AI agent that literally works at scale, right? Now, at the end of the video, I can also showcase you how to make this, how to send a specific email now, because we added a memory to it. So let's do that. So let's refresh the whole thing, and I can be like, okay, draft me an email. Let's try this. Okay, send me an email to jacktest.io. Use reschedule type and tell to, or let's say let's use other type. Let's SOE type, and let's try a little bit like more weird user input just to see if it's gonna really work. So basically what it done now is literally went in our template, aka our database, to check for the SOV type email. It drafted me the email, and now let's see. Okay, hijacked as promised, use scope of work, and basically everything how I want it to be. And I can literally click here and enter you the exact email, right? And I can be like, okay, send it to jacktest. So let's see if it's gonna work. Basically it's to send the email. Now let's we can check if it really sent the email. It did, as you can see here. Boom, it sent. Now important, make sure to remove this part. In this case I didn't remove it, which we should remove it. Append the annotated attribution. As you can see here, you can just remove this by clicking on this, and that's basically it, right? And you can save it. Now before I shut down this video, the most important part of this video is the prompt. Now how to write the prompt is very there's so many multiple opinions, but in short lines, before I go into the prompt, make sure to send the chat input or whatever your trigger is to the AI agent, right? How to do that is literally run the trigger first, and then you can literally click here under the expressions and literally drag and drop it in here, right? In our case, chat input, as you can see here, that's basically it. Now, how to write the system message. Make sure to click the expression so you have like more flexibility onto it. But how we write the prompt is very specific and scientific, right? Now I'm gonna showcase you one specific framework that we use on writing prompts, which is basically this framework. You can screenshot this however you would want to, but the way you write prompts that actually work is you start small, you test, you see if it works. If it doesn't, you add. If it doesn't, you add. Basically, you start small and build upon it, right? You don't go on the web and copy one big prompt and then just paste it in. No, it doesn't work like that. But here's the original framework that you need to utilize, but for any prompt. Literally, if that's how you create a good agents, right? By following this prompt structure. First, you start with a role, which is basically every single agent is going to have this. Let's say define what AI agent is responsible for. You are an AI email assistant responsible for managing email-related tasks, blah, 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 blah. Your goal is to efficiently process user requests while ensuring accuracy, structured responses, and adherence to contextual rules, right? You get the point. Now, the next step is what? The next step is objectives, task. Clearly set the goal of the agent, right? Which we basically, the goal of the agents, your goal is this. Let me just, objective. Your goal is to efficiently process user requests while ensuring the accuracy, right? We do that, right? Okay, so both of these parts are checked, right? Now, the third, context and variables, right? In short lines, provide background information to and any relevant user inputs, right? In our case, this is a little bit down below, right? Which basically why, because I wanted to provide him with the exact steps before what to take. Like you don't need to follow this exactly how it should be in this image, but it's preferred to. But in our case, this has down below, which is basically today's date. If mentioned type of an email, use Google Sheets to retrieve specific email structure. Basically, if I told him utilize for scheduled type of email, use the Google Sheet tool, right? Only look for the primary inbox. All timestamps are in the CIT time zone, aka Ljubljana time. Never guess subject lines. Always use the provided ones. Always confirm the recipient details before sending out the emails. Basically, all the rules I want him to take, right? In very granular detail. And I built that upon just from testing, literally running the AI, testing it, and improving it. Now, here's the important part here now, the most important part, which is basically the steps. You need to clearly outline him how you want him, you want him to utilize each single tool, right? Now, let's say for the create to draft, it's basically I want him to draft a new email, input all the variables that I told him. First, to utilize Google Sheet tool, basically, because I'm not never going to tell him just create me an email from scratch. I'm always going to tell him utilize me specific type of email from our database. That either be SOV, Azure Schedule, etc., or XYZ. Utilize same framework, but just align it from my user input, right? Basically, I want him to, I'm telling him to utilize the template, okay, the framework structure, email structures from the template, from the database, but the variables are from my user query. Now, as I said at the start, you can improve the template by including JavaScript variables, where you want AI to know what is the variable part and what you want him to literally be fixed. But in our case, it's a little bit like sloppy made, but it still works, as you can see. I also told him that whenever you want him to like acknowledge something very, very important, just literally write him important. Also, when creating a draft before sending the email, always provide it with the Gmail URL. Why? Because that's something I don't trust AI fully, and I always want to double check, right? It already saved me a lot of time just by writing the whole email, and just do that in a second, right? Now the send, I also tell him what to do. Retrieve, I tell him how to retrieve it and to add a Gmail URL at the end. Reply, etc. Right? Formatting, that's just a bonus. This under the context and rules, right? And as you can see here, I didn't include every single step here. I only included the first, second, third, and fourth. And potentially fifth, but I didn't include him the examples. I didn't include him the decision rules, even though I could. Why? Because I built upon it. I started small and then I tested continuously until it worked. And I got to the point where this simple prompt, it works amazingly, right? Now you can also improve that even more, especially if you want it to work at scale and you want him to acknowledge specific tasks. But in short lines, utilize this prompt, screenshot it, and utilize it whenever you're building AI agents. So that's basically it on how to build an email AI agent in N8N platform. If you have any questions, let me know.